კი. გესმის ჩემი ხმა? მეც ძალიან კარგად მესმის. დილამშვიდობის.
Good morning. Please take your seats. Welcome back to the forum. Today we mark the final day of the forum. We will cover care system, digital transformation, and close with high-level B panel. As a reminder, today we will have coffee breaks at 10:30 and also second coffee break at 3:30 p.m. And lunch 12:30 at the same location we have yesterday. Today we start with session 7. Now I invite the chair, Ilya Vakatrigo, statistician, social and gender statistics section, statistics division, UNSD. Please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our last day of this global forum on gender statistics. We are about to start the session on transforming care systems, a theme that is at the heart of gender equality and sustainable development. It is a pleasure to have you with us today and explore how can data drive the transformation of care systems around the world. Globally, most care remains unpaid and disproportionately falls over women and girls. On average, women spend 2.5 times more hours per day on these tasks than men. This imbalance not only perpetuates gender inequalities, but also has far-reaching implications for family, communities, and economies. International frameworks such as the Beijing Platform for Action and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development emphasize the importance of making unpaid domestic and care work visible. They call for better measurements and evaluation, including the use of time-use statistics, to ensure that these essential contributions are recognized in policy and planning. Recent global commitments, including the Pact for the Future, further underscore the need for increased investment in the care and support economy. The Pact also highlights that physical and mental health are integral to care, reinforcing the notion that care is central to human well-being and sustainable development. 2 years ago, in South Africa, at the 9th Global Forum on Gender Statistics, participants emphasized that care is not just a sectoral issue. It is an overarching policy concern. It touches every dimension of our lives: gender and human rights, education and health, the labor market, migration, and even resilience to global challenges. They underscore the need for robust statistical frameworks, statistical standards, highlighting how time-use data can complement measures like GDP, and provide policymakers with the evidence needed to design care systems that are both equitable and effective. We are very fortunate today to have a distinguished panel of experts who will share national and international perspectives on the use of data to advance care systems transformation. Allow me to introduce them. We have Ms. Maka Kalandarishvili, did I say it right? Head of the National Accounts Department at Geostat. Maka brings over 10 years of experience in national accounts and economic statistics, managing the compilation of GDP and other key indicators. We also have with us Ms. Diana Isabel Osorio Cuevas. She currently serves as an advisor and coordinator of the Differential and Intersectional Approach Group at Departamento Administrativo Nacional de Estadística, DANE, in Colombia. Diana has extensive research experience in health economics, social protection, and gender economics. We also have with us Ms. Gulmira Karaulova, Deputy Head of the Bureau of National Statistics Agency for Strategic Planning and Reforms in Kazakhstan. Gulmira has led social and demographic statistics, including gender statistics and SDGs monitoring, and plays a leading role in enhancing data quality, integrating administrative and alternative data sources, and promoting the use of statistics in evidence-based policymaking to support Kazakhstan's national development plans. We also have with us Ms. Fengyi Lin, Deputy Director General of the Department of Social Science and Technology and Cultural Statistics at the National Bureau of Statistics in China. Ms. Fengyi Lin oversees social statistics, women and children statistics, and cultural statistics, as well as the organization of time-use surveys in China and the gender statistics monitoring. And last but not least, we have the remote participation of Ms. Samantha Watson, senior statistician at Statistical Standards and Method Units in ILO. Samantha is working with ILO colleagues, national statistical offices, and specialized research institutes to develop new evidence, tools, and guidance to support the regular production of statistics on unpaid domestic and care work via countries' existing labor force service infrastructure. We look forward to learning from their insights and examples on how data can support the transformation of care systems, promote gender equality, and improve well-being for everyone. You all have 10 minutes for your presentations, and let's start with Ms. Maca.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maca Kalandarishvili. I represent National Accounts Department of Geostat. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of the 10th Global Forum for bringing us together. And also, I want to express my appreciation to all presenters who have already shared very interesting insight and experiences during these 3 days. In my presentation, I will share Georgia's experience developed within the framework of close collaboration between UN Women and Geostat on estimating the value of unpaid household work. This is very important, especially in the context of gender equality and national policy planning. From national accountants' perspective, it was a very interesting experience as we were dealing with the measures that went beyond GDP. When we talk about household production, we refer to all unpaid activities carried out by household members. While part of household production, such as producing goods for own use, is captured within the system of national accounts framework, many crucial activities, for example, chores or caregiving, remain outside the central framework. Yet these activities are essential for the well-being of households and society. By valuing them, we can better understand their contribution to the economy and ensure that policies reflect this hidden but vital work. It is also important that these tasks disproportionately fall on women, which makes the gender dimension a center in the analysis. Unpaid work takes different forms. As we have already mentioned, some unpaid activities are already measured within SNA. However, for example, unpaid domestic chores and care services, for example, caring for children and the elderly, are not measured. Additionally, there are unpaid volunteer work. It may be helping to other households or contributing to associations. All of these activities together form a significant part of economic life, even though they may not reflect in GDP. To address this gap, we rely on international guidelines. UNICE provides a full framework for measuring and valuing unpaid work through satellite accounts. A key element of this work is time use survey, which provide the data needed to estimate hours spent on unpaid activities. There are two main approaches for valuation. First, the output approach, where we value the volume of service produced, and then we estimate them in the nearest market prices. This approach requires a lot of statistical data that may not commonly available, and also this approach is not making use of time use surveys. As for the second approach, it is input approach, here we value the time spent by imputing wage rates. This approach is highly recommended when data from time use survey is available. In Georgia, valuing unpaid work has been integrated into the national strategy for the development of official statistics for 24-27. With the support of UN Women and with the active participation of invited expert, Mr. Jacques Schran, the activity was carried out in 2024. It included a workshop with Social Statistics and National Accounts Department of Geostat, as well as meeting with stakeholders. The final report on building the satellite account of household production for Georgia was published in May 25. This is a milestone that provides evidence for both economic and gender-related policy making. The compilation was based on a range of data sources. The most important among them, of course, is time use survey. The survey allows to measure how much time people devote to unpaid work. The labor force data, wages from business statistics, national accounts data, and other relevant inputs were also used. Together, these data sources formed the basis for calculating the value of unpaid household work. I will briefly overview the compilation steps. At first stage, the total number of hours spent on unpaid household service work was estimated across the population. Then wage rates were applied to these hours in order to calculate the imputed compensation. Afterwards, related taxes, consumption of fixed capital, and intermediate consumption were estimated. Using these estimates, we reconstructed the household production and generation of income accounts, and finally, we integrated the data in the frame of supply and use tables. Our pilot's results show the impressive scale of unpaid work. In 2021, household performs about 3 billion hours of domestic work. If we include volunteering and processing activities, the result reaches about 4 billion hours. These numbers highlight the amount of labor that is invisible in traditional economic statistics. The distribution of unpaid work clearly reflects gender inequalities. Women carry the largest share of unpaid domestic and care work, where men contribute much less. By identifying these differences, it is visible the structural imbalance that affects women's opportunities in the labor market. In 2021, unpaid household production of services in Georgia amounted approximately 23% of GDP. And if we take extended GDP, which means official GDP plus estimated unpaid work, it's about 19%. When we compare internationally, Georgia's unpaid household production is in the middle range. In terms of GDP contribution, Georgia stands between the United States and China. This shows that the challenge related to unpaid work is not unique for Georgia, and it is a global phenomenon. Care services are the largest segment contributing to the social value of unpaid, to the total value of unpaid household service work. As you can see, in men's case, housing services are quite high. The reason of it is the housing services also includes repair and maintenance. The findings have direct policy implications. By including unpaid work in extended GDP, its true economic value can be highlighted. Recognizing, reducing, and redistributing unpaid work is essential for advancing gender equality and designing more effective economic policies. This is what we wanted to share with you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Maka, very much for sharing Georgia's experience on evaluation of unpaid domestic and care work. This is really encouraging for other countries that have also carried out time use surveys in the past, and see how you, by doing this exercise, can bring light to the contribution of this type of work to the economy, but also to the fact that this work is primarily a contribution of women. Also, I want to highlight the fact that we have been talking during this forum on the fact that statistical offices need to take more advantage of the whole ecosystem. And you mentioned that it's an exercise that relies on time use surveys, labor force surveys, business registers, national accounts, and bringing together the economic and social dimensions. So thank you for sharing this exercise. Now we are going to give the floor to Ms. Diana Isabel Osorio from DANE.
Thanks, Ileana. Good morning, everyone. The main objective of this session is talking about all these innovative, maybe measures that we have in our country. So I want to share with all of you all these, maybe the 5 or 6, initiatives that we have been working through the maybe 10 years in DANE. So, but first I want to talk about what are those enablers that from public policies led us to get some time use survey, all these indicators and the satellite account and so on. So first is, there are 3 key aspects that we want to mention in terms of public policies. One of them is the law 1413 of 2010, because this law establishes the inclusion of the care economy in the national account system with the aim of measuring women's contribution to the country's economic and social development, and as a fundamental tool for define and implement public policies. In fact, this law established how many times or DANE has to do all the national time use survey every 2 years. So this is one of the facilitators that we have in our country. The second one in this administration has the National Development Plan, established as a general section related with the long-term national goals and objectives, and DANE has a main role related with the systematic production for the national care policy. And the third one has to maybe the national care public policy, called in Spanish COMPES 4143, that established or made the main purposes an action plan to advance toward the consolidation of a caring society in which the state guarantees the right to receive care and to provide care. In the last one, in the COMPES, we have 133 actions, not only from the ministry, they are agency, department, administrative national departments, and so on. So this is a huge plan of action that we have been implementing since maybe March of 2025. These are just 3, maybe are some more, but we can discuss later. First, one of the biggest achievements that we have in our country is the National Time Use Survey. We are running the 4th edition, 2024-2025, but I don't want to detail all the technical aspects, maybe just to emphasize in 3 innovations that we have in this version. First of all, one of them is the strategic partnership that we have with the Ministry of Equality and Equity. This ministry was created at the beginning of this administration, so we are working in conjunction with that entity to get in financial resources and technical resources to improve this operational statistic. Besides, we have the new concepts based on the COMPES 4143. So one of them, maybe the biggest one, is community care. I mean, how we can recognize all these unpaid care works doing by the civil society and all this knowledge that we are using from them. And all these initiatives are related with the improve of the well-being of dependent person and their caregivers. And the third one has related with the geographic coverage, because if you see the map, maybe just the gray zone are the missing songs, if you want to call like that. So this version has a new sample. So we have in the past version 45,000 households. Now we have 70,000. So maybe this is a huge effort that we have been doing during this year. The collection process starts in the past September 2024. As I mentioned before, we are finishing maybe the past week, 52 weeks as we know the collection process. So this is maybe one of the key aspects that we want to share from this version of the new night, the N2s. The second one, maybe we, as many of us know, Colombia has a national account system and the Care Economy Satellite account, but maybe we want to remark again three products, the main products that we have available in our web page or whatever way you want to use. First of all, we have the economic value of the unpaid domestic and care work. And the second one is related with the production and income generation account. And the third one is expanded work matrix. So what does it mean, Care Economy Satellite account? Bring care into the system national accounts, reveals how paid and unpaid work interact by tracking how people allocate their time. So these three products depends, of course, from the time use survey, besides the labor market survey, and another topics related with the national system accounts that maybe are you familiar with all of them. But you can find in our web page all this period of reference. For example, for the 1 and 2, the same has the same period of reference, and the third one, it's going to depend from the labor force survey. So has a long series of time. We have an unpaid work calculator. It's maybe sub-product or by-product from the previously initiative. So you can fill in the web page how many hours do you dedicate some activities, I mean cooking, childcare, under 5, with people with disabilities and so on. In the web page maybe show you how many hours do you spend in that activities and how is the value estimated based on the minimum wage legal from our countries, from Colombia, sorry. The past Global Forum, we shared this initiative. So the National Transfer Account, there are two strategies, National Transfer Account and National Time Transfer Account. The first one is related maybe with understanding the generational transfer of labor income from people in their productive years to the dependent age groups, and integrates statistical microdata with administrative registry, for example, not only national accounts, for example, national quality of life, social security affiliation, etc. And the other side, the past year we launched in 2024, October 2024, National Time Transfer Account, and the main purpose is quantify the value and flow of non-monetary intergenerational transfer by age and sex. This let us enable to equitable empirical-based design of public policies that account for the intergenerational distribution of unpaid labor. This led us to construct the time use profiles, and using, of course, the time use survey. The last version in this case was 2020, 2021. And the last one, maybe to monetize these profiles, estimates of employee compensation and average income from the Care Economy Satellite account. These three maybe slides are showing us what are those maybe transformative initiatives that we have been working. NTTA was one of them. The second is related with the occupational classification, because this occupation is based on international references, but I want to focus in one occupation code that, as you can see in the slide, is related with the home caregiver or personal assistant for person. Just to remember, all the relevance that all this labor classification has to visibilize some unpaid, or maybe just some jobs, if you want to employ this term for now. But the main idea is try to improve all this, getting access to the labor market, how you can measure in a better way, how you can visibilize these jobs in the labor market. And this is just to highlight that this version of this occupation classification has an inclusive language. So this is a huge effort that we made during the 2025. So if you want to know about this initiative, maybe we can share the details with all of you. And the last one, just to close my intervention, is the care map. This is a work that we have been working maybe 2024, 2021 with our colleagues from the Ministry of Equity and ECLAC. And the main idea for now, because I want to be clear that the care map is on the first stage of design. So this is a preliminary version, as you can see in the slide. So the main purpose of the care map is to show us what are those supply or maybe the public care facilities across national. We are focusing on four populations, children, people with disabilities, or elder people, and caregivers. So the main idea is we are working on the better data collection, because the main idea is to improve all these administrative records and try to be systematic in the way that we are going to update it in the next version of this care map. So for now, just a few reflections, if I have time. Maybe there are so many details that we have in Colombia, so I feel so lucky to share with all of you all this experience. As I mentioned before, the idea is try to establish, maybe if you want knowledge transfer, if you are interested, but just a few reflections to maybe about keep promoting the use of administrative records to maybe to get all this disaggregation data that we have been discussing yesterday in the last session specific about the territories. I want to emphasize between maybe we don't have all the level of disaggregation that we want, but maybe not only administrative records, but we have been working in a small area estimation that led us to maybe get some details about LGBTQ+, for example, some municipalities and so on. We have to maybe to visibilize all this, maybe to this collection in forms to, and I maybe just to add something is maybe which is the level of production that we're going to, the stop rule maybe that is enough, and the use of AE in the care system is a topic that we haven't discussed in this, and maybe with this topic in particular. So that's for now. If you have questions, just let me know. Thanks.
Congratulations, Diana, for all these amazing initiatives and for packing that much information in 10 minutes. You did a great job. I want to highlight some of the ideas that you give us. One is the idea of the importance of identifying enablers, and you have mentioned strengthening policy frameworks together with strategic partnerships to secure funding for the periodic collection of time use data. Also, the importance of responding to community needs, truly responding to community needs, and you have mentioned the care maps, but also the increase of coverage, geographic coverage on the time use survey, but also the identification of new concepts that adapt better to communities. So I think this also links well with what Ms. Nino Rudatke said yesterday, the importance of having localized data to provide precision information for effective decision making. Also, because we are in a room full of statisticians, the importance of responding to needs. You have mentioned the revision of the occupational classification to highlight this important occupation of caregivers. And finally, the creative use of techniques. You mentioned the NTTAs, but also smaller estimations, so it's a lot of information that maybe you will have a round of questions to provide more information on this. So now I'll move to Ms. Gulmira Karaulova. Please, Ms. Gulmira, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Ileana. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be here and to share Kazakhstan's experience in measuring gender aspects of household non-market contribution using the NTTA approach. As you know, traditional systems of the national accounts reflect only market activities, while a significant part of production, primarily unpaid household services, remains invisible. However, these activities play a crucial role in the reproduction of human capital, in ensuring the well-being of the population, and in supporting sustainable development. The main source of data for NTTA is time use survey. Kazakhstan has conducted 5 rounds of time use survey since 2003. The most recent survey was conducted using ICATOS 2016. It was implemented as a rolling survey throughout the year to ensure comprehensive coverage of all activities. It collects data from household members aged 10 and older using 24 hours diaries with 10-minute intervals. This provides us with a rich data set to study how men and women across different ages allocate their time between paid and unpaid activities. On this slide, you can see the 9 main groups of activities covered in the survey. The results of the analysis show persistent differences in income levels between men and women. Over the past 3 years, men's average earnings have been higher than women's in all age groups, but the gap shifts across the life cycle. The gap is especially pronounced during prime working years, aged 35 to 44. For women, a significant portion of time during this period is devoted to unpaid labor, childcare, and household duties. At older ages, the gap narrows, but it never fully disappears. Women also face an age-based pay disparity. Their peak earnings occur at age 35 to 44, after which growth slows and remains stable. To eliminate the influence of price changes, the dynamics of male and female income are presented in 2022 prices, where the trend is clearly visible. Next slide shows earnings growth compared to the beginning of working life. That is for the 16-24 age. At peak age, men's earnings nearly double compared to the start of their careers. It should be noted that in 2024, women's earnings came closer to men's, especially in age groups below 54. At the same time, the second chart shows the ratio of male to female wages in 2024 compared to 2022. By 2024, as you see, men in the 25 to 44 and 45 to 54 age groups reached clear peaks in earnings growth, while for women the pattern was more gradual, with peaks at 25 to 34 and again at 45 to 64. A key feature of the age profile is that earnings peak at 35 to 44, while in most developed countries this happens later, close to the end of working life. After that, earnings decline and return to levels similar to the start of a career. This pattern has been stable over the past decade. This is explained by several factors, like limited opportunities for professional training and retraining during working life, a job structure with a relatively high share of simple occupations that do not require advanced skills, an older generation whose human capital has become outdated as a result of market reforms. These differences demonstrate the necessity of accounting for the gender factor in employment and income policies. Let me now look at the results of the 2024 Time survey. This slide shows the distribution of time spent by men and women across 4 activity groups that you see below the chart. Household production for own consumption, unpaid domestic services for the household, unpaid care services for household members, and unpaid volunteer services. As a general principle, NTTA includes activities that would be part of national income if they were done for wages instead of unpaid labor. Researchers often apply the third-party criterion. If a person could pay someone else to do activity and still receive the benefit, it qualifies. Activities such as sleeping, eating, sports, and leisure do not qualify. At the same time, activities that are already included in GDP, such as paid work of subsistence or subsistence farming for own consumption, are excluded to avoid the double counting. According to the chart, on average, women spend more time on unpaid work than men. This structure creates the so-called double burden for women when paid employment is combined with household responsibilities for women. As men age, the share of time devoted to household production for own consumption increases, while for women, the high level of domestic workload remains throughout the life cycle. NTTA are a logical continuation of the analysis of gender inequality in the balance of household income and consumption, as well as gender differences in intra-household transfers. NTTA complements traditional economic accounts with a time dimension. So far, we have compiled the production side of the balance based on Time survey and wage data. At the first stage, time spent on household work is measured in hours. At the second stage, this time is assigned a monetary value using the replacement cost method based on the market wage of a worker performing an equivalent work. Then the types of work, both in minutes and monetary terms, were combined to obtain a full estimate of unpaid work. Production is analyzed at the level of individual who directly spend the time. On this slide, you can see a comparison of types of activities between the 2 classifications, ICATUS and NACE. The results shows that women contribute more in all age groups except 59 to 69. When men begin to devote more time to household production for own consumption. The largest gap in favor of women is observed in the 30 to 39 and 70 plus age groups, where their monetary contribution driven by household duties and elder care exceeds men's by more than twice. Thus, the invisible contribution of women to the economy can be quantified and incorporated into social policy. In conclusion, NTTA helps design policies oriented toward fairness and sustainable development. They make it possible to assess the redistribution of resources between age and gender groups, identify the balance of production and consumption over the life cycle, design sustainable pension and health care system, and develop more flexible and targeted social protection measures that account for the real contribution of both men and women. As a result, NTTA changed the way we view societal resources, emphasizing that time is as important a resource as money. Without accounting for unpaid work, it is impossible to capture the full picture of the economy. At the same time, I would like to stress that this is only the initial stage of our work. So far, we have developed the production side of the accounts, but we still need to estimate consumption side. We are now working with a local expert and may also need consultations with international organizations to finalize the full NTTA. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Gulmira. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for the impressive continuity of time use surveys, 5 collections since 2003, which is crucial to monitor changes over time. Also, thank you for bringing again the life course approach to the analysis of time use surveys, which has highlighted gender inequalities that build and grow not only on the labor market, but also within the households. And for sharing your experience with NTTAs, showing the transformative power of time use data. You mentioned the distribution of resources across time and gender as an essential input to build a strong public policies. And also, I got your last comment on time is as important as money, so why not start as a community of time use users and producers pushing alternative measurements instead of working always with monetary measures. Time use measurements can also be elevated at the same level as, for example, the GDP. So with that, I now give the floor to Ms. Feng Jinling.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Dear delegates, I'm Feng Yilin from the NBS of China. I'm delighted to be here to participate in the 10th United Nations Global Forum on Gender Statistics. Regarding the discussion on Session 7, I would like to share China's experience in conducting time use surveys and related statistical results. In recent years, China has conducted 3 time use surveys and obtained rich data on residents' time use. In 2008, the NBS of China conducted the first time use survey in 10 provinces. The survey targeted respondents aged 15 to 74 from sampled households. The survey used paper diaries requiring survey respondents to record at 10-minute intervals the main activities they engaged in during a workday and a rest day. Interviewers were required to uniformly encode the textual information reported by survey respondents. In 2018, the NBS of China conducted the second time use survey in 10 provinces that participated in the 2008 time use survey and Shanghai. The survey used a light diary format, categorizing residents' main activities into 20 activity categories. Respondents were asked to fill out information about their time use and internet usage, as well as details such as who they were with at 15-minute intervals. Regarding data collection methods, Shanghai began exploring the use of electronic questionnaires, while the other 10 provinces still use paper diary formats. Compared to the previous 2 surveys, China's third national time use survey covers a broader scope, involves a more comprehensive range of survey respondents, provides richer content, and adopts more convenient methods. First, regarding the scope of the survey, the previous 2 time use surveys covers about 1/3 of the country, while the third national time use survey expanded its scope to 31 provinces for the first time, providing a more comprehensive and accurate reflection of the time use situation of residents across the country. Secondly, regarding the survey respondents, for the first time, the survey respondents include residents aged 6 to 14 to better reflect the time used in learning and the training of children. Thirdly, regarding the survey content, the main content of the third national time use survey includes 3 survey forms. The basic information form include name, gender, health status, age, employment status, and etc. Since the information has already been collected in the household survey, the information can be directly transcribed without requiring respondents to fill again. The diary adopts a light diary format. Respondents record their primary activities, use of internet, who they were with, where they are, and the simultaneous activities that occurred within a 20-hour period in chronological order at 15 minutes intervals. The open-ended questionnaire consists of 36 questions, mainly covering aspects such as the survey respondents' family life, caring for the elderly, medical treatment, sports and fitness, and cultural participation. The activity classification for the third National Time Use Survey is based on the ICATUS and MHI and set up according to China's national conditions. We divided residents' daily activities into 6 primary activity domains and 13 major activity categories. Among the major activities, 7 activity categories have subcategories, expanding to 34 subcategories. Next, I will introduce alignment of China's activity categories with the MHI. From the comparison table, we can see that MHI category 4 to 12 serve as a basis for calculating SDG indicator. The corresponding activity categories in China are A07, A08, and A09. For A07, housework, we divide housework into 4 subcategories, namely cooking, laundry and cleaning, keeping pets, and other housework. However, for A08, accompanying and caring for family members, we also divide it into subcategories. The main reason is that Chinese people are very concerned about the care and education of children as well as the care of the elderly. Due to the time constraints, I will not elaborate on each category in detail. Fourthly, regarding the survey data collection, in order to improve survey efficiency, the third National Time Use Survey used a unified data collection software nationwide, collecting data through WeChat mini programs without the need to download a separate app. The interface of the mini program is set up in the checkerboard format with every 15 minutes as a column and every hour as a row. Respondents click on the start and end time points to select a time period and choose the primary activities and simultaneous activities through a drop-down menu. After completing the diary, it will automatically jump to the corresponding open-ended questionnaire based on the demographic characteristics of the survey respondents. For some survey respondents who indeed have difficulties using mobile phone, they can still use paper diaries. This is a light paper diary we designed. Respondents should fill in the paper diaries according to the actual time period of the activities, continuous filling in for 20 hours, and fill in the codes of primary activities and the simultaneous activities. But information about use of internet, who they were with, where they were, only needs to be checked in the corresponding positions. In this slide, I will introduce the application of China's time use survey data. We have publicly released 3 statistical communiques to better serve the public. You can find them from the web link. We have written 14 analytical reports and submit them to the government for better application in policymaking. We have also designed 28 research projects and collaborated with universities to conduct research. In addition, we have published a statistical yearbook, making the aggregate data publicly available and stored the microdata in the NBS Microdata Laboratory. Next, I will briefly introduce the main idea results of China's third time use survey. For example, In the field of unpaid labor, including housework, accompanying and caring for family members, purchasing goods or services, and volunteer activities, the average daily time for residents is 2 hours and 5 minutes, accounting for 8.7% of the whole day. The average daily time for participants is 2 hours and 45 minutes, with an activity participation rate of 75.6%. In addition, the average daily time spent by residents using the internet is 6 hours and 3 minutes, with an internet usage rate more than 90%. Next, I will further introduce the gender-specific data on paid and unpaid labor time. In the field of paid labor, the participation rate of men in paid labor is 60.2% higher than that of women. In terms of the average daily time spent, men spend 6 hours and 44 minutes on paid labor, while women spend 5 hours and 55 minutes. Both the duration and participation rate of men in paid labor are higher than those of women. In the field of unpaid labor, the participation rate of women in unpaid labor reaches 83.9%, which is 16 percentage points higher than that of men. The average time spent by women participating in unpaid labor is 3 hours and 29 minutes, which is 1.9 times that of men. Specifically, the participation rate of women in housework is 76.6%, which is higher than that of men, and the average time spent by women participating in housework is 2 hours and 27 minutes, which is 1.8 times that of men. The participation rate of women in accompanying and caring for family members is 34.2%, which is higher than that of men, and the average time spent by women participating in accompanying and caring for family members is 2 hours and 1 minute, which is 1.4 times that of men. But in recent years, the gender disparity in unpaid labor time has shown a trend of gradual narrowing. According to survey data from 2024, the gender gap in unpaid labor is 1 hour and 37 minutes, a decrease of 11 minutes compared to 2018. This narrowing of the gap reflects a more balanced gender development in China. Okay, the final part is challenges and next steps in better collecting time use data. Let's talk about challenges. Firstly, the reporting process takes a long time. Despite significant optimization of survey content, the average reporting time per person remains over 30 minutes. Secondly, the cost of conducting survey is relatively high. Although we have promoted electronic data collection methods, some survey respondents still require the assistance of interviewers, resulting in a substantial investment of manpower. Thirdly, the interval between surveys is relatively long. Currently, there is a 10-year interval between the first and second survey, and a 6-year interval between the second and the third survey. Facing the new situation and new requirements, firstly, we will improve the survey content and design, further optimize and simplify the survey content. Secondly, we will continue to promote modern data collection methods to enhance the efficiency of data collection and processing. Thirdly, we will increase the frequency of surveys, establish a fixed survey cycle, and scientifically reflect changes in residents' lifestyle patterns and quality of life. Lastly, I would like to extend my gratitude once again for the invitation for the Global Forum in 2024. With the support of UNSD, the NBS of China held an international workshop on time use surveys in Xi'an, Shanxi province, where we exchanged survey experience with other countries. Moving forward, the NBS of China will continue to improve statistical systems and method, and is willing to actively participate in the formulation of relevant classifications and standards, contributing to the advancement of women's causes globally. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being transparent about the challenges that many statistical offices are facing. It is known that at the global level, one of the common challenges is the lack of a sustainable model for ensuring the regular production of time use surveys. But you have not only managed to repeat the collection over time, but to be innovative by using technologies and also by promoting light solutions to increase frequency. So probably many other countries can also learn from this experience. You have highlighted the importance of building on international standards, and you have tested the use of the minimum harmonized instrument as a tool to promote more frequent data collections. And also, I think because of the overarching theme of this global forum, we are talking about driving change. And you have also highlighted the value of the application of time use statistics. It's not only about care, but also you have shown by the analysis of the data that this data provide information of all activities, including, for example, the use of the internet, which highlights the fact that these are very strong tools for monitoring quality of life and well-being. And also, thank you for highlighting the fact that this is a strong community for sharing practices, and the workshop, but also this type of events promote the collective growth of and sharing of information. So now, we will give the floor to our remote speaker, Ms. Samantha Watson. Samantha, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen, if I may. Oh, sorry, I'm sending a request to share my screen. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think you can share my screen. Could you just see my screen? Could you just confirm?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect, thank you very much. Embedded our modular applications in the international statistical standards and the relevant classification schemes. And then I'll talk a little bit about data sources and how the ILO's modular application fits in to those sort of wider data source discussions. And then just a few slides on data policy, because that's really where we're at in the process now at ILO. So just to say that the ILO's mandate and focus on time use measurement really came out of the sort of international standards that we have around the measurement of work. So in 2013, we had Resolution 1 of the 19th ICLS, that's the International Conference of Labour Statisticians, and it provided a reference concept of work for the very first time. You can see I've highlighted it here. I won't go into all of the details, but just to say that work comprises any activity performed by persons of any sex and age to produce goods or to provide services for use by others or for own use. And so for our purposes today, that last part for own use is really sort of the organising framework. So that same ICLS resolution set out this forms of work framework. You can see we have the different forms of work there. It specifies 5 separate and mutually exclusive forms of work. And of course, care work can be performed as any of these forms of work, with the form of work determined by the destination of the resulting goods or services, and also the role of remuneration, so whether paid or unpaid. And what this resolution did was it really brought own use provision of services work. So that's what we at the ILO and within all our resolutions call unpaid domestic and care work. So when I say own use provision of services work, if you're not familiar with the term, you can think about unpaid domestic and care work. And so this resolution brought that kind of work within scope of official statistics for the first time in terms of the international standards. You can see I've highlighted it here. And so this framework provides a strong foundation for the delineation of care work, as well as the characteristics who perform it within each of the forms of work. And it allows for monitoring and mapping shifts in the distribution and volume of care work undertaken across these different forms of work. And I just wanted to highlight here, because I know some of you in the room are involved in this process, but we have launched a standard setting process to develop new international statistical standards for the measurement of care work, and that's across all forms of work for submission to the next ICLS, which is expected in 2028. So in terms of relevant international classification schemes, of course, the primary one for our purposes is the ICTIS 16. The timing of the ILO's work to develop modular applications for time use measurement within national LFS was very, it benefited considerably. So we began this process back in 2018. It really took off and accelerated from 2020. And by that time, of course, we did have the ICTIS in place, so we were able to rely on that. We didn't have to start by developing our own classification scheme. I think everyone here is familiar with ICTIS, so I won't go into the details of it. In terms of data sources, so that same resolution really set out the pathway for how we ought to proceed in terms of integrating time use measurement within labour force surveys. So within that resolution, there's a statement that labour force surveys are a useful source when the objective is to capture general patterns of participation of the population in different forms of work, and short add-on modules or supplements may be attached. And it really did express the scope to combine the strengths of labour force surveys as the main source of statistics on labour market indicators, job quality and working conditions, labour underutilisation, with the strengths of time use surveys, so providing us details of the participation and time spent in own use production work, particularly provision of services, as well as total working time. So it was really from this that the ILO started on the path to develop light time use modules that were suitable for attachment to labour force surveys. So I just wanted to highlight, because I won't have time obviously to go into the details of our modules, that we do have quite an array of guidance and tools. We have the main measurement guide, which includes the modules, as well as a lot of detail on the background to their development and guidance for national adaptation. We also have some other resources there that can inform adoption and national adaptation, and just showing here some of the detailed that's available in the measurement guide. So if people are interested, I would direct you to that. Just in terms of sort of an overarching summary of the features of the light time use module that we've developed for attachment to labour force surveys. So it's designed for CAPI, face-to-face interviewer administration, and we have a version available in CS Pro software. And we're currently in the process of developing a CATI version as well as a complement to the CAPI version. So our tools do measure own use provision of services within a full accounting of daily time use. So sometimes countries say to us, well, within the LFS, can we not just focus in on only provision of services work and ignore all the rest? But we want to guard against known measurement issues encountered when data collection is restricted by domain. So even though it's a module, it's quite a comprehensive time use account. In terms of the recommended topics for data collection, of course, we have the time use activities. And so we have a comprehensive domain coverage and it's aligned to ICATIS. We recommend gathering simultaneous activities, but this is optional for countries. Sometimes there just aren't the resources to support that. Of course, we record the timing, the sequencing and duration of activities in minutes and hours. We record contextual information. So within the model module, we have location or travel purpose, have co-presence, have the beneficiary, and we have market orientation. And our guidance does include recommendations for additional context items that may be of use for national measurement objectives or policy priorities. These are ICT use, affect or well-being, and mode of transport. And we also have some direct questions at the end of the diary roster on passive or supervisory care for household and family members. So national labour force surveys do offer a number of advantages for modular time use measurement. So of course we have generally large sample sizes characterised by rigorous sampling and data collection methodologies that ensure the representativeness of the data and minimise threats to data quality. We have established protocols for secure data collection, transfer, storage and timely release. And we have promotion of analysis of total work time, so we can support the comprehensive measurement of care work performed across all forms of work with a single data source. However, the attachment of the light time use module does usually, not always, but it usually does require some non-trivial modifications to the field operations, and the extent of these vary according to the standard practices for the labour force survey in each country. So modifications may impact timeline and resource needs, and so sufficient lead times really do need to be allowed for planning. I don't want to sort of exaggerate the ease with which modular time use measurement can be conducted. There are a number of trade-offs and concessions. So firstly, annual coverage may not be feasible, so depending on the coverage of the parent survey. And of course, this does have implications for modelling satellite or extended accounts. We're going to have to rely on some more serious model assumptions than we otherwise would. It would usually be advisable to administer the module for one diary day per respondent only. So that means that within-person analysis is therefore not possible. And similarly, we usually would advise that it's one respondent per household only, again, just for pragmatic reasons. And of course, that takes intra-household analysis off the table. These are guidance only, though, so countries may wish to depart from these two recommendations where they have sufficient resources. One thing as well is that because proxy response is not permitted and pre-allocation of diary days is recommended, modular attachment to the labour force survey, it's very likely to complicate the field operation. Of course, that has implications in terms of resources. So our tools were published in 2023, at the end of 2023. And since then, we've been working with countries to help them with national adaptation and implementation. And one of the key things is really a push to make sure that the data isn't just collected and then left without informing policy. So the whole purpose of the light approach, the modular approach, has really been to to get these data into policy in a way that they weren't really before in many countries. And so obviously we all in this room know the key sorts of policies we're talking about. So addressing barriers to education, to labour force participation, decent work, earnings and asset ownership, social protection, infrastructure development, budgeting for education, healthcare and transport. We've heard a lot about the value and potential of such data for national care policies and plans and comprehensive care systems, as well as for more comprehensive national accounts. And we've also heard about some innovative accounting approaches such as NTTA. I won't go through the different SDGs in any detail. I include the sources here. I think this has been a very useful exercise that was undertaken because for a long time countries were coming to us and saying, well, we don't want to attach the module if it's only going to be for indicator 541. So highlighting the value of time use data for many SDG indicators has been really useful. So just on fostering policy uptake and time use data on own use provision of services. So this is something that we're really focused on now that we have all the tools and we're working on rollout. So here I'm just taking this schematic from a publication by Data2X called Invisible No More. We worked with Data2X actually on some of the development work of our modules. So they provided some funding. And so we continue to work with them now on rollout. And I think this is a really useful framework, and it's something that we're really seeing in that a lot of the time, when we are finding a lot of interest in a country in adopting the modular tools, it really is coming from the demand side. And this is something that this report identifies as quite crucial. So producing data without looking at how that data is going to be used is sort of not a guarantee, but certainly a risk then for uptake. And then in terms of ensuring just the quality of the data, so that's where our tools are hopefully assisting countries. We do allow for quite extensive national adaptations to ensure national relevance. However, by taking the tools, we know that they're already aligned and harmonized to all the relevant standards and classification schemes, and also that they've been developed based on quite a lot of existing evidence on good practice. Effective communication is something where we're sort of really now moving into supporting countries to ensure stakeholder engagement at the outset when we first come to discuss integration of the tools into the national LFS. And then really sort of helping NSAs to communicate how time use data can be used to develop policy and monitor progress. Because as I said, there is sometimes still a little bit of a disconnect that we're seeing. I think it's very important that we don't come in with a one-size-fits-all approach as well. So in all of our work on national uptake and rollout and implementation, we try to be very attuned to locally relevant policy issues. So just to say, we've been very much guided by the need for the data not just to be collected, but to be used. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Samantha, for sharing the ILO on the modular approach for most cost-effective data collections to improve frequency, and also for sharing the supporting material that I know ILO have been producing for the past years. We also appreciate the reminder of the many applications of time use surveys to inform a wide range of public policies, and highlighting that the true value of time use data comes when it actively informs policy decisions and help shaping design of services. I think we still have 15 minutes for questions. I know that the presenters have raised up to the challenge of talking about transformation, so I will now give the floor for any questions that you might have. Please, Gogita.
Good morning, and thank you very much for delivering excellent presentations. So I have a question for China. You mentioned that there are long gaps between the surveys, yes? I mean, the interval between surveys is quite long. Since gender roles and work patterns in China are changing quickly, how does China track these changes between the major surveys? Do you have any interim methods to update the data more regularly? I mean, do you collect smaller updates for surveys more frequently?
Clelia?
Thank you to you all the presenter. I have a question about the response rate of the last time use survey you carried out in your countries. Is possible, if possible?
So I don't see any hands now. Maybe we give the floor back to the speakers. Maybe we start with China, and then all the other presenters can talk about the response rates.
Thank you for your raising the question. Actually, China is indeed considering increasing the frequency of its time use surveys because, we find changes in China are happening very rapidly. However, we have also noticed that most countries around the world currently conduct such surveys as an interval of about five years or more than 5 years, maybe. Especially for Georgia, you conducted the first time use survey in 2021. But I also want to know your consideration about the frequency of the time use survey. Thank you.
Maybe on the response rate, do you want to take the floor?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Regarding the response rate, usually for rural area, response rate is quite high, and in compared to the urban area, on average, we have about 17% of response rate for time use survey. It's it's like a module of the LFS. Regular survey, and the time use survey is a little bit lower. Response rate of little bit lower than LFS. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, we have the same answers from my colleague. We have a set of 10 questions in the labor force survey to try to identify all this care work. And besides, we have the 75% of response rate. So this is a little bit the same for us.
For Georgia, I will ask my colleague, Head of Social Statistics Department, Mr. Vasil Zakadze, to support because the time use survey is conducted by Social Statistics Department.
Thank you for the question. So our survey was conducted during 2020-2021, which was COVID-19 period, and the response rate was about 70% in that period. Thank you.
And in terms of periodicity, actually, you might be aware that there is no need to conduct such comprehensive surveys very frequently. We can conduct this once in 5-6 years, and in the meantime, we can make expert assessment. So, and therefore, next survey is planned to conduct it during next few years, from 2026 and 2027, I think.
Please, Xiting.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentations. And I have a question for a colleague from Colombia. especially about the frequency of time use survey. We noticed that you do time use survey every 3 years for now, and have this as a regular basis, a regular practice. That's such a good example, and we really want to learn from it. Right now, China is considering increasing the frequency of time use survey, as my colleague just mentioned, but we hit a few challenges. First, the data from time use survey doesn't change fast. Over a few years, the difference in data might not be significant, and sometimes it could even be from the survey errors or bias. Secondly, we need to get funding for the time use surveys. So using the time use survey data in policy making becomes super important. We need solidly improve to apply for the funding. So that's why we want to learn from other countries about the frequency. And lastly, we are figuring out how to use simpler method to lightening the survey burden. Once we increase the frequency, like maybe using a smaller sample or shorter questionnaire, just to make data collection more efficient. So we really love to swap experience with other countries on these points. Thank you.
Andres.
Yes, thank you. My question is to Samantha about the uptake of these modules in labor force surveys. It would be interesting to know how many countries and in which regions have succeeded in taking up these new modules, and how do you envisage them spreading further? Maybe you know some statistics about it. Thank you.
Thank you. See, since I don't see. Oh.
Sure, no, I'm still here. Sorry, I didn't.
Samantha, let me give you the floor. There's one more question, and maybe then I'll give you the floor back to you. Bushra, please.
Thank you, Ileana. Thank you for all the presenters for their rich and interesting presentation. My first question goes to Colombian representative. I was very impressed by your experience and that you had built this care map. I would like to have, if you have recommendations to other countries, how to consider in their occupation classifications about the caregivers. What were the subdivisions for their caregivers network by type of care? Would you recommend to countries to include these subdivisions in their occupation classifications? And with regard to ILO, we have in Morocco planned our third time use survey, but we have the funding, we have everything, but we are struggling because of the very heavy program to conduct it. And as well, we are considering to introduce the new recommendation in our LFS, but we are facing many challenges to adapt and include the new modules related to time use in our LFS. What were the challenges faced by the other countries? I'm asking Samantha as well, to introduce this model recommended by ILO regarding to time use questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Bushra. Papa?
Yes, thank you very much to all the presenters. Mine is not a question, but it's more of just adding a few points. So over the last few years, essentially, we've supported over 20 time use surveys, different contexts, and really with a lot of lessons learned, particularly on what happens in the field, right? So the field work, and these were, I think, again, lessons that we think are really going to be helpful for countries that are also embarking on this. So we have 2 studies that are coming out very soon in the next couple of months. One is looking at by Jacques Chambre, and it's really looking at essentially comparing the comparison of the time use surveys, including the field work, issues related to cost, and etc. So we have that coming out. And one interesting thing that he is also doing is comparing the time use surveys in Japan, where in Japan, one of the benefits is that there was both a light diary and a full diary, right? So, but comparing those two to really see what are the differences. So what are the trade-offs going from a full-time use survey to a light diary? So I think that's also going to be quite important for our community. And the other study is really more of an analytical study of what are the findings, but also what is it that we can do with time use surveys in terms of additional analysis. So I think it was pointed out here that just the production of a couple of indicators is not enough. But there's a lot more that can be done, and that study is really going in that direction to see what is it that we can gain from time use surveys in terms of analysis, but also what is it that we can add to enrich them. Thank you.
Thank you, Papa, for this comment. I think we are looking forward to see those 2 studies. It's very important to keep promoting the analytical value of time use data. It's costly, but it has a lot of potential use. So I think we have another question from the table 8. I can see from her. Yeah, please. No? Not anymore? Okay. Because we are getting close to the end of the session, I think we have a question for couple of questions for Samantha, a couple of questions for Diana. I give the floor in that order, but also I would like to give the chance to Gulmira, Maka, and Ms. Feng Li to share just in a bite-sized thought what were the challenges on the NTTA or the evaluation and lessons learned that you can share with countries, because I think these are very interesting experiences. And for China, what are the current uses of the data? But very short, 1 to 2 minutes each. So please, Samantha, we start with you.
Thank you. I'll keep it very short. Way that would provide good quality statistics. So the rollout has really been focused on Asia and sub-Saharan Africa because that's where the tools were tested, and now that's where they've been validated. So we have several countries in sub-Saharan Africa. We have other countries in the pipeline, and we really are sort of attempting to sort of fill a gap, because in cases where these countries had done a time use survey before, generally the data really hadn't been used at all. In many cases, it hadn't been analysed. So that's where we sort of see these modules being positioned. Another role that they can play is providing interim statistics between independent time use surveys. On the challenges, I did talk a little bit about some of the challenges that modular attachment creates, and maybe, Bushra, we can come back to that bilaterally, because I know that we're very short on time, so I don't want to get into sort of specifics in different countries. So I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Ms. Ling?
Okay, thank you. The finding of time use survey, I think, results furnish policymakers with critical policy insights and data backing, drawing the government's attention to relevant populations, especially for the elderly and the women. And our time use surveys have kept a strong focus on the situation of the elderly and women. And we do benefits from the time use survey and do some contribution to the policy making. And we also, the current users of time use survey data in China include government agencies and departments and university scholars and students and the general public. Thank you.
Thank you. Gulmira?
Regarding the challenges, as I already mentioned, this is only the initial stage for the compilation of NTTA for Kazakhstan. So far we have developed only production side and we still need estimate consumption side. I can say that this process is time consuming and of course the main issue is the lack of the detailed methodology. Since we face various issues during the analyzing and processing the data, and that's why we working with local experts and still we need some international expertise. So it's quite challenging for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Diana?
Thanks. I'm gonna to answer to first the classification occupation. My recommendation is going to depend on the context because in our case we did a lot of work sessions with civil society organizations and government to try to identify and be more, maybe try to incorporate all these activities that the caregivers are doing with people with disabilities, a child, and so on. So it's going to depend a little bit of the context. I don't know. Maybe that is my recommendation, but just to add the burden of the person that is going to receive the interview, I suppose maybe the best way is maybe to incorporate all these administrative records. But I was wondering maybe about the disaggregated data because if you don't have the governance of these administrative records, maybe we can be a little bit difficult to maybe to the publication or dissemination data. But in Colombia, we had the experience for poverty and other governments that we have, the people receive aids from the subsidized or something like this. So my recommendation is trying to explore all this because we worked the past year the design of the care administrative records to try to identify where we can live, how is the main characteristics, and maybe that key aspects that we have to take account. Just to be clear, establishing some criteria, for example, because all of us, maybe we can care, but we have to put clear criteria to select the correct people for to measure.
Thank you, Diana. And Maga?
Thank you. In our case, maybe challenges will be related for our future work. As you know, the estimating of value of unpaid work was pilot project for Georgia, and we used time use survey data for 2021. And thus, time use survey, conducting the time use survey is related to periodicity. Mm-hmm. For example, if we use for permanent compilations data from 2021 and apply wages for upcoming years, and then we'll receive data for new survey. Maybe we'll need some guidance in order to recompile or revise our estimations and combine the old and new survey data together. Thank you.
Thank you, Maka. We can continue this discussion over the coffee. I just want to highlight 2 points. I think it's all about strengthening time use data, and we have seen a lot of improvement in the way countries are collecting, analyzing, and disseminating data, including by the use of modern technologies and light instruments. And the second point is promoting the use. So as Samantha mentioned, it's important to cultivate a culture that actively uses time use data to inform policy and planning, and positioning time use statistics as valuable complements of GDP has been highlighted in this panel. We should continue promoting the integration and application of time use data across different statistical frameworks. So with that, I think we give a round of applause to our presenters, and we close session 7.
Thank you, participants. Now we have a coffee break. Please enjoy. We are back at 11 a.m. with next session, session number 8.
Fue súper desafiante de tener tanta información empaquetadita.
Yo tengo la habilidad de empaquetar el...
Thank you.
სამი რემონტი.
ერთი აქ. ეგ ხო ის არის, ჩი არის. ერთი აქედან და მეორე იქით. აბა ესე ჩავაბარო იმათ თუ კიდევ ჭირდება.
არა, ეს არა, მე მომეცი და მე ჩავაბარო.
Test. Okay.
Thanks. It's also very interesting that in this group, there is almost equal numbers of women and men present.
Yes,
Data producers and users. Yes.
I was because a lot of people keep saying, okay, why we don't have organization for women?
Yes.
We mostly in our country.
Everything is for men.
Female, still female, natural, is different.
Yes.
You are the one who pregnant? No. Really, really?
Yeah, of course.
You need to respect her natural. Her
Difference.
natural, we are different.
Of course. And you must promote that difference.
Yes,
Yes. Totally agreed.
I hope people asking a lot.
I'm sure they will.
I am enjoying people actually asking that.
I also think that having
I think
yes,
is much better.
yes, agreed. Would you like some water? Can I give you some water? No. You're okay. So in AI, you had an AI degree, a degree in AI.
I have not degree in AI. You see, in UTE there is a program, security program for the general secretary, like top management.
Yes.
UAE, they must know about AI.
And so you have done that course.
You must.
Okay.
You must.
Understood.
And all who join this program only executive director of organization or general secretary. No.
Senior people.
Senior. Yeah, top management. Top management. They're not accepting anyone. And there is also interview and so on. It is strict. But this is because strategy in India. You as a leader and decision maker, you must know what we are doing. Because you will approve the system, you are going to decide, you are...
Yes, so you have to have basic information.
Yes.
Excellent.
But actually it is also my field because I am software engineer.
Yes, and so...
And I also study, but I still not completed master in administrative. So
Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. Because I have 2 months, I didn't complete my master in the strategy. Because at that time, I was handling almost 300 people. 200 male. 100 female. But 200 male, and they are experts in IT. Because my field was, I am managing the Center for Digital Excellence. Before I didn't mention it because too much. I only focus about what is related to this one. Yes. That's why I stopped my master because it was too much.
I'm very happy to meet you.
Well, actually, me also. I was sad. That's why I sent my assessment to Atam. I
Yes.
told her I cannot because I have meeting in General Assembly and I wasn't able.
Yes. But you are here? Perfect. It is perfect. And then afterwards, if you have a card or a contact, please give me so we can be...
Actually, I don't have, but I will give you my phone number. You
Okay.
have your phone?
Yes, I do. Are you going to give me a QR code?
I
Or
don't
you want-
have it. You
Okay,
know, I am totally IT,
But-
but I didn't.
Let me do this. I will just add you.
It is my first time to attending this kind of program actually. Because my country said you must attend.
Yes.
Because you are the most expert in this area.
And what it is 971 50
Yes,
70.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
because I don't see which exactly. You know, you need to learn from other countries. It's not an issue. You will learn from me. I will learn from you.
Of course, there is no problem. There is only intelligence that constantly learns. Are you on WhatsApp on this number? Yes.
I cannot handle a lot of numbers.
No, yes, me too. I have one number and keep it simple.
I told my colleague I will bring. I don't like using laptop, especially for presentation. But I told her I am ready from technology. And you know, something happened. This
also
will
have a
stop.
backup.
Yes. I thought maybe see?
Yes.
See?
Yes.
This happened. What I جايب اختراع. اختراع. I hope he fix it. But see, والله exactly what I شوفي مرة اللي خمنته شفتي؟
I have sent you a message.
حسيت والله حسيت. You know, I told my colleague, I feel something will happen. I feel something will happen, that's why I will push. Even I don't like it already. But I think they can...
They will fix it, don't worry. It has been excellent the past few days. I am sure they will fix it. Because earlier today there was a little spark, someone, and so there was maybe a fuse or something.
But I already can control it from here.
Yes, so that is fine. And you can see it from here. It is just for the rest of the panel that won't be able to see. I do it in Urdu.
Oh, you know how to write in Arabic?
Not Arabic, but I know Urdu. Maryam.
Always I told my father knows how to talk Urdu.
Does he?
I told him, please teach me how we do it. Because you know our social fabric.
Is this Maryam? Maryam. But if you do it in English, it will be easier for me. Maryam Khan. And then I add.
With us here.
So Saida will come with us. She's from the World Bank, standing over there, and 3 people are online. Yes.
I need to know what is that. Do you want me to keep searching?
Saida, have you met?
Yeah,
How
nice
are
to
you?
meet
Nice to meet you.
I always like your questions. So
You enjoy it.
Of course, of course.
Please take your seats. Now we can continue with session 8. I am invite Chair Mrs. Mariam Khan, UNFPA representative in Turkey and country director for Azerbaijan and Georgia. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a nice coffee and you're ready and excited for our next session. I'm a data user, and I'm very pleased that in the panel today we have some data users, some data producers also. The session that we have now is going to explore digital transformation in reshaping economies, societies, public services. We all know that the benefits of that remain unevenly distributed. We also know that every day new challenges are emerging from the digital world. So we're hoping to explore in this session how gender statistics can show to address persistent disparities, but also how we can enhance safety as new information comes to light. We'll be examining opportunities to expand the benefits of the digital economy to women and girls, especially in critical areas such as entrepreneurship, education, health, and work. We'll be speaking about innovative technologies and approaches, including privacy-preserving technologies, non-traditional data sources, to improve the availability and quality of gender data. I know the speakers will reflect on the role of inclusivity, open, safe, secure spaces, and how gender statistics can inform policies to protect rights, but also foster participation. We're hoping that by the end of the session, you'll be inspired to action. We're also hoping that you'll have a better sense of the use of a lot of the excellent work that you're doing and how we can communicate more so that the gender statistics is put in use as quickly as possible for policy influence. We've got a very distinguished group of speakers, and I'll start introducing them briefly. On my left, we have Galia Ali Almanai. She's also an engineer and recently boosting her skill set with AI knowledge. She's the chairwoman of the Strategic Affairs and Development in the UAE General Women's Union. She oversees national, regional, and international projects and also serves as the Secretary General of the UAE Women's Sports Federation. And she chairs also the Executive Committee for the Unified Women's Sports Platform across GCC countries. Online, we have Mr. Johnston Galande. Johnston, I don't think we see you right now. You are the principal statistician in the Uganda Bureau of Statistics and head of demography and gender section there. You provide leadership in the implementation of programs on demography, gender, disability, and human rights, with a strong commitment to integrating these cross-cutting issues into the production and use of official statistics. We're also joined today by Ms. Katia Branger, the senior statistician in the Federal Statistical Office of Switzerland. Katia, you're responsible for gender statistics since 2004, and you coordinate work in the FSO, collaborating with many other government entities. You're a member of the Steering Group on Gender Statistics of the UN Economic Commission for Europe since 2010, and of the Interagency and Expert Group on Gender Statistics. I now introduce Mr. Nathan Monton, the Senior ICT Analyst in the Data and Analytics Division of the ITU. Nathan, you're a statistician. You focus on the measurement of ICT indicators through household surveys. And before joining ITU, you were a statistician with the UN Economic Commission for Europe and the UN Stats Division. And finally, on my right, I have Ms. Seida Ismaila Kunova. You're a senior economist and statistician in the Poverty and Equity Global Practice of the World Bank. You're a task team leader for the South Caucasus Gender, Poverty and Equity Program. You've led many projects to strengthen national statistical systems in Armenia, the Kyrgyz Republic, and Tajikistan. Right now, you are also part of the worldwide support team And previously you've worked as the head of macroeconomic analysis in the Ministry of Finance of the Kyrgyz Republic. You've got a PhD in economics and a master's degree in public policy. So we've got a very wide spectrum of expertise on this panel to discuss our topics for today. So without further ado, colleagues, I'd like to give the floor to our first speaker, Ms. Galia. Please, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. First, I would like to thank the organizer and thanks all the panelists for all the sessions that attend. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you for the experience and insight that I gained from you. So today, I will tell you about the Mother of Nation vision, which is has been announced this year. This vision is a vision for Her Excellency Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak toward 2075. Before I tell you about this vision, I will tell you about the journey of UAE in empowering women. So, as you see here, our journey starts by establishing the General Women Union in 1975 under the leadership of Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak. So from literacy and education to health care and well-being, in UAE we built the main pillars for uplift the woman life. And step by step, because I cannot explore to you the key milestone. So step by step, we start introducing a strategy and policies that empowering women. And this policies and strategy, we were the first country in the Gulf region who introduced the strategy for empowering women. At the same time, in 2023, we introduced, I think we are the first country maybe do that. We introduced a new policy, but this policy for empowering women is target the national and non-national women. So this was a policy we try to ensure that women, regardless her nationality, who live in UAE and consider the UAE as her home, we ensure that she have the opportunities to grow and have the quality of life. So this is a quick about our journey, and we are also proud that UAE is ranked first in 31 indicators related to the gender balance. Also, we are the first regionally in gender inequality index on 2025 and 13 globally. So now I will go back to the Mother of Nation vision. We are celebrating this year the achievement for 50 years of establishing the General Women Union in UAE, and we announce in this year the Mother of Nation vision toward 2075. This vision is not about a strategy actually. It is about like a promise, the promise that Emiratian women will be in every innovation. They will be in every transformation. They will be in every decision that shape the future for the country. So this is also not considered as national priority, because in this vision we have 3 pillars, and one of the pillar is international partnership. So we don't consider it as national priority. We consider it as a global model of inspiration. So as you see, we are depending on 3 main pillars: the family and national identity, where we are grounding our value. We are not, still the main core of this will be the family, because the woman is the pillar of the home. The woman is the mother, is the daughter, is the auntie, is She is actually who ensure the sustainability of the community in the country. So family and national identity will be our main priority. At the same time, governance and strategy, where we will focus about that our effort is data-driven, because without tracking and gathering all the data, it will be hard for us. And international partnership, because you will learn from me. At the same time, I can learn from you. So this kind of collaboration between us, I believe it can add value to the global, because especially for women, some of issue considered as a global issue. So even if I resolve it in my country and other countries still have it, it will affect my country. Especially in UAE, we have more than 200 nationality living in UAE, and they are part of our community fabric. So we need to do something on that. So international collaboration is must for us. So our objective is here. The UAE is among top country in advancing women equality of life. The UAE is a global role model in women empowerment across all future-oriented sectors. The UAE is among world top government in shaping the future. Okay, this objective, I can say it with confidence that we can achieve it, because we can measure it, and it is easy and accountable. I can see, we can measure measurement by data. So the first thing, advancing women equality of life. We have also three sector on that: comprehensive and sustainable good equality for women, where we will focus also about determination people. I don't know, you know this one? See, in UAE, we call the special need people. We don't call them special need people. We call them determination people, to give them like positive. We don't treat them like different than us. So in UAE, we call special need as determination people. So here for sustainable good quality of life, also we will focus about determination people and senior citizen. At the same time, we will start trying to do like predicted analysis, so I can assume there is an issue will happen in this area, and I can do action before this happens. At the same time, the second thing, to ensure the quality of women life, there will be a flexible national ecosystem, which actually we launched it in 2021. We have monitoring system for empowering women and equal opportunities education, because see, we already have actually in UAE equality, equal opportunities, but ensuring the sustainability of everything is more harder than the starter. That was why this is important also in this area. The second one, for ensuring women empowerment in all sectors, we will start a new mechanism in UAE, and also I believe it will be a new thing globally, a new mechanism. We will start an innovation lab, but per sector. We will give the entities, the government entities in UAE, the flexibility to do their own strategy, to do their own policies. But how we ensure to achieve this vision, we will stand with them beside to ensure that everything is aligned with the vision, because they are the one on the ground. They know better than me in that sector, and we will have many innovation labs will work as agile, accelerating to the challenge that we face for women. And there is also a lot of things, Kabul. I will waste a lot of time if I go for all of that, so I will go to the next. Here is, as I just mentioned, one of the main things that we are focusing about is making ecosystem for ensuring that we are in right track. So we have system for tracking the progress of UAE women. This system we starting in 2021. It is under the direction of Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak. This system also adopted officially by UAE cabinet to have the power to encourage the entity in UAE to share the data. This system is mainly based on the data, and we started as a first to measure the national strategy for empowering women. Now, because I can show you this, but the new things I cannot show you, that's why I only will show you the national strategy for empowering women. And this is started by 5 level, operation indicator to global indicator. This system have almost 155 entities working with us. This entities from federal, from local, from civil society, from higher education. We forming the national team. This national team start to collecting the data, and then we start ensuring that the classification is, because every Emirates, we have Emirate, I think you have a state here. So every Emirates have a special classification. For example, if I talk about business activities, the definition in this country and this emirate is different than other. So what we are doing, unifying the classification. Then also we getting the recommendation and challenge from all the entities. Maybe what also make us special in measuring the tracking progress, we not only depending on the data that we receive from entity. We also have one service that allowing the woman itself to give us her feedback. So there is two areas. One is depending on the entity. At the same time, it is depending on the woman itself. And because what I see to do it, within the 3 days, most of participants focusing about the number more than, okay, after I know the number, what is next? What is next? And this system, I am allowing all these entities, bear their sector, to access the data that related to them. I don't give them full access, but I give them the access to the data that related to them. So, for example, if I would like to predicate there will be increase in divorce in this area, I cannot only depend on the data that I get from divorce entity. I need to merge the data of education, the data for health, the data of society, so I can predicate there will be increase in this area and do proactive action. So in UAE, the data for the woman actually is controlled by the one who executing the initiative for supporting women. At the same time, all entities that require the information, we give them direct access. Here is, it is not working, it is video that shows some part of the system, but it is not showing. So I will go to the next. Here is some example how we using the data that we have to real initiative that reduce the gender gap. So we have here national program for training national expert in the country in the field of women and girls. We planned for sustainability. Here, this is interesting initiative. When we trying to see the data for participant of the number of businesswomen in agriculture field, we notice we have a few women in this field who have businesswomen. And at the same time, we go to check how many women own a farm. We have a lot of women in UAE on the farm. Then I told you we have also other service to hear from them. We ask the women who own the farm, why you don't transfer it to business so you can open vacant, you can contribute in the economy. They said to us, we would like, but we don't know how to start. From that simple, I see, a simple answer and simple data that we have, we start national initiative that will increase economic, will increase the presence of women in agriculture field. Same for all what you see here actually, even digital trade and logistics, a lot of women wasn't like to join this field. Based on the data, we noticed that, and we also do initiative for that, and now I can say the gender gap in this field reduced a lot. And comparing to other, I'm afraid I'm taking a lot of time.
Yes, your time is actually
Okay. Just 1 minute only. Okay. So as I told you, we already do international partnership, and there is a lot also of initiative that we do in UAE to support other country. One of initiative is for women, peace and security. This initiative, actually, we built it with UN Women, based on the data that we see the participant of women in military is low. This is why I told you we use the data to do initiative to reduce the gap. Same for Arabic Observability for women economic. We notice also the Arabic country in economic participation indicator globally, it is low. So we start this initiative to trying to expand the businesswoman between Arabic countries, so I stop now. Okay, thank you, my dear.
Thank you so much. Galia, for sharing how some of the data is being used to change the lives of women. And we welcomed hearing about the 50-50 vision towards 2075. And also about the Women's Progress Monitoring System, which is harmonizing data based on global indicators for all Emirati women, with the aim to promote women's economic participation, well-being, and health across the region. And you're also doing some initiatives in other countries using this, including Sub-Saharan Africa. And what I found very interesting is it's very responsive. So you're listening to the women and trying to respond. So if they don't know how to start a business, then that piece of information is being used. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to move to the second speaker for our session on gender data and digital transformation. It's Mr. Johnston Galande. Johnston, are you online?
Yes, I'm available.
Very good. The floor is yours, Johnston. I did introduce you earlier. I think you had dropped out for that minute, so I will not do that again. I want you to use your full 10 minutes, please. The floor is yours. We do see it. If you could just make it larger in presentation format, it would be then, I think, easier to read on this side. Perfect. Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Organizers, and I'm grateful to be in this meeting of the Tennis Global Forum on Gender Statistics. Like I said, my name is Johnston Galande, and I'm a principal statistician in charge of demography and gender statistics. My presentation will look at the current status of gender data in Uganda, some digital transformation that have encountered in official statistics, and the existing opportunities for gender statistics and any emerging issues. Government of Uganda has come up with the policies and programs to strategically empower women be it in leadership, management, education, name it. For example, we would see that the president is a man and the vice president is a woman. And when you look at, say, members of parliament, every district brings at least a woman. So there's a deliberate effort to empower the women. At the Bureau, we have the National Gender Statistical Advisory Committee and the National Gender Technical Working Group that guides the statistics production at the Bureau. So when we produce or when we come up with every survey, there's an advisory committee and there's a data technical working group that comes on board to guide on the statistics that we are going to produce. The statistics that we produce inform national, regional, and international frameworks, and especially the SDG 5, in particular Target 5, that talks about enabling technologies and ICT to promote women empowerment. Uganda values the gender statistics and prioritizes the digital transformation, in that it came up with the four areas that it assumes will boost the GDP increase from 50 billion to 500 billion by 2040. The strategy is called the 10-fold strategy. And the ATMs these are the agro-industrialization, tourism, minerals, and science and technology. So it really values science and technology as a booster for the GDP. Now, if we look at Uganda generally, as for the total population, citing the census of 2024, we are 45.9 million. And more than half of these were females. But when also we look at these women, we see that they live longer than us, the men. But also if you look at the literacy, we see that there's a little difference between women and females and males, 72 for females and 77 for males. So we assume that we should be moving together in all indicators given this background. Now, as I told you, we have the steering committee and the technical working group. We have the Uganda National Priority Gender Equality Indicators. And we monitor around 140 indicators. This is an increase from 106. So these indicators are aligned to SDGs, they are aligned to regional frameworks, they are aligned to national frameworks. However, there are some major gaps that still remain. Say in digital access, financial services, unpaid work. Unpaid work, care worker, like in Uganda, is almost entirely a female-dominated area. Now, the main sources of population, the main sources of data are population and housing census. We have household surveys and then administrative data that inform the NPJ. We do carry out a number of censuses and a number of surveys. Among them, we have the National Population and Housing Census, Education Census, Agriculture Census. We did the first one, Agriculture Census, this year. Census of business establishment, then community information system, which is almost looks like a census. We do the community profiling at village level, the smallest administrative unit in the country. We collect the data from there. But the surveys that we do carry includes the Uganda Demographic Household Survey, the National Household Survey, the Harmonized Integrated Survey. The Harmonized Integrated Survey is longitudinal in nature, such that we track households that we cover household. We continue going back to those households. We have a National Governance Peace and Security Survey, violence against women and girls, labor force surveys, manpower surveys, time use survey, and these are the surveys that we feel can easily generate gender statistics or gender data. Now, Uganda did carry out its first digital population and housing census in 2024. And this one now tells you the story where we are coming from in digital evolution. I need to inform you that before 1911, the population of Uganda was just being estimated. But in 1911, that's when we carried out the first census. Now, from 1911 to 1948, we would assemble people to strategic areas and we just head count them. That was the census that we are carrying out then. Now, from 1948, that's when we carried out the first scientific census. And this is where we used the paper and we moved from household to household. So come 2024, that's when we did use the tablets and we moved from household to household. So we used 2024, we used the CAPI. In the other censuses, we are using PAPI. Now, government of Uganda has been, the Bureau has been having many data portals, spatial data portals, disaggregated in different areas, and even the ministries also do collect some gender-related data. But now the Bureau has developed an online integrated harmonized database linking all databases, all other databases, be it from the ministries, say gender, say health, say education. So going forward, we shall be having only one stopover if you want data, any data that you want, be it gender related or any data that you want. We have also tools to collect data from the local governments. In fact, after the local community to use those tablets. Yes, please.
May I ask you to maybe turn off your video because we are losing you in between, and that will be then helpful in making sure we keep hearing you. Thank you. Please proceed.
So after the census, we gave out the tablets that we used to the community to continue collecting data at the community level. And that's what I was telling the community profiling. Now, there's an area that we have not done much, like the non-traditional data sources, using the big data and the AI to come up with the gender responsive statistics. This is an area that we are looking forward to go into, but we have not done much into. Now,